Hey, Richest you money maniacs, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about indeflation. What is that? All right, let's get to it. Hey, Richest you money maniacs, welcome back. Tom coming at you. This video is about the amazing word that Mike Maloney invented called indeflation. It's the combination of inflation and deflation occurring at the same time in an economy that is completely out of whack.
Have you ever heard of indeflation? This is something I used to talk about quite a bit a long time ago.
Like ours right now, thanks to the Federal Reserve and our elected officials. Isn't it wonderful that they're doing such a horrible job? It's just amazing. So think about it this way though. We get a front row seat on watching people screw up the most powerful nation on the planet and bringing it to its knees. What an exciting time to be alive. We can either sit by and just let it happen, or we can actually start to do something about it. But that's a different video. So before I go any further, I want to say thank you to Mike Maloney for that incredible word and the very simple concept that it represents. Indeflation is what happens in an economy when you have hyperinflation and hyperdeflation. When things are so out of whack and so screwy because of all of the mistakes that the Federal Reserve and central banking system has made, and all the mistakes that the elected officials have made, and the horrible foreign policy and horrible monetary policy has finally caught up with them, that things are so out of kilter, it's going both ways really fast. So, how do you protect yourself? How do you know what to watch out for? Because that's what the Richest You is about. Helping you be ready to master your finances and protect yourself and your family and your hard-earned value, your hard-earned money, not currency. So what do? Here's how you tell what's going to go up in inflation, and what's going to go down in deflation. Think about it. Actually, it's really simple. Anything that requires you to be able to live and keep your family safe is going to go up in price. So think about that. What would go up in price? Well, when you wake up in the morning, you probably need electricity. You could get away with no electricity. So a lot of countries do, but you probably use it. If you're watching this video, you use electricity. You probably need water. You're going to need food.
And that is exactly what we're seeing today. Beef prices soar to record high as meatpacking plants shutter.
You're going to need clothing, right? You're going to need a way to be able to keep working, right? So maybe you won't have a car anymore. Maybe you'll ride bike. But maybe you'll take the metro, or maybe you won't have a metro. Maybe you'll work remotely and you'll have to have internet services and tools to be able to work remotely and track your work and make sure that all your employees are getting what they're supposed to done, right? So think like that. Anything that is absolutely vital to you staying alive is going to go up in price. Bread, eggs, milk, internet, all kinds of things that have to do with the basic necessities. Now, what's going to go down? Anything that you don't really need to keep yourself and your family alive and safe. So things like luxury items, right? Baseball games, football games, movies, going to a restaurant, buying fancy clothes, buying an extra pair of shoes, buying expensive clothes, expensive shoes, luxury bags, things for your pet, extra, all kinds of different things that you thought were so important before. Suddenly you realize, I can't eat that. And it doesn't keep me warm at night, and it doesn't keep me dry when it starts raining, and it doesn't help me get to work so that I can keep making my check. Think like that. That way it'll be very simple. You'll look at something and you'll see the price changing. Now, it'll go down if it's not a basic necessity. It'll go up if it is a basic necessity. Now, here's the really cool part. Because you're watching this video and you understand this simple concept of indeflation, that means you can position yourself and your family to be able to take advantage of the really low prices for these really cool things if you have income, and to watch out for the super high prices for the things that you need before it gets out of hand. So because you know now ahead of the curve, and it is still ahead of the curve, it's starting to happen. You're starting to see prices move and things change. But because you know now, you can use this to your advantage. In fact, here's a really good example. Restaurants are being sold for next to nothing, and it's going to drop even more. Why? Because who wants to go to a restaurant if you could potentially have to, who wants to buy a restaurant if you could potentially have no customers? Well, what if you buy that restaurant and you start doing groceries, or you start doing delivery, or you start doing a drive-through or an eat out, or you do something unique with it, or you make it so that you only have people seated but they're far apart. And it's kind of cool because they get their own booth. You could be an innovator and turn it into something that makes you a lot of money down the road, simply because you adapted to the new environment and you bought the business super low. So you got the brand recognition, you got the network and the client and the clientele that like going to the restaurant. You didn't have to start from scratch and take that big risk, and you got it dirt cheap on top of it. So that's the deflation side, right? Businesses are for sale. Real estate is going to be for sale for super cheap too, very, very soon. You watch, because all the bankruptcies are coming out, and everybody and their brother, including large commercial real estate holders, are starting to file for bankruptcy. So guess what? That means you'll have opportunities as well. And then you'll know, okay, all these other things that I need to stay alive with are going to become more expensive. I'm going to reduce my living expenses. I'm going to get either a smaller apartment, or I'm going to get a smaller house, or I'm going to back off on buying these extra things, and I'm going to not buy the cookies and ice cream. I'm just going to stick with the basic necessities, and we're going to tough it out for a little while until we find these other streams of revenue from the deflationary side, right? So remember, this is good because you're aware. So anything that's necessary for life is going to go up in price. Anything that's a luxury is going to go down. And thanks again to Mike Maloney for Indeflation. I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope it's helpful, especially as you start to watch the craziness and madness unfold even more in front of you, right in the grocery store, right in the retail clothing store. Everywhere you go, you're going to see this, and it's becoming more and more obvious every day. So take advantage of it right now while you can. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you come back. Thanks again, and see you next time.